Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get that mic in there. Welcome to the 2019 Lakeview High School Grand March. This year's prom theme is Around the World, and will feature an array of diverse cultures and nationalities, with each table representing a different country while our students dance the night away. During this time, we invite you to take pictures and video as we announce our students who will be shortly traveling to the prom at the Corinthian in Sharon. Each student or each couple will come through the center tunnel here, pause for you guys to take pictures, and then they'll exit off the left and go through the hallway to the outside. Our first couple this evening, Miss Roberta Blair, escorted by Gabby Miller. Next up, Miss Paige Bigley, escorted by Mr. Braden Yeager, and Miss Allison Gamble, escorted by Mr. Dallas Barber. Next up, Miss Nicole Patterson, escorted by Mr. Jesse Rhodes. Our next couple this evening, Miss Allison Ibbs, escorted by Mr. Gage Bartholomew. Please welcome Miss Sarah Cole, escorted by Mr. Trent Novak. Next, please welcome Miss Morgan Snyder, escorted by Mr. Tyler Greer. Next, please welcome Miss Taylor Gerlach, escorted by Mr. Ben Naus. Next, please welcome Miss Maya Johnson, escorted by Mr. Trevor Steen. Please welcome Miss Tiana Johnson, escorted by Mr. Andrew Latimer. Please welcome Miss Michaela Baylog, escorted by Mr. Gavin Boggs. Our next couple this evening, Miss Cassidy Murray, escorted by Mr. Robert King. Next, please welcome Miss Riley Boer, escorted by Mr. Jared Obriza. Next, please welcome Miss Olivia Johnson, escorted by Miss Tiana Johnson. Next, please welcome Miss Justine Campbell, escorted by Mr. Ryan Dennis. Next up, please welcome Miss Elena Barrick, escorted by Mr. Lane Barber. Next, please welcome Miss Jensen Troy, escorted by Mr. Zach Dodo. Next, please welcome Miss Jordan Coulter, escorted by Mr. Brett Beath. Next, please welcome Miss Alexis Martin, escorted by Mr. Jeremy Weaver. Next, please welcome Miss Leah Hostetler, escorted by Mr. Nate McIntyre. Next up, please welcome Miss Bailey Caseby, escorted by Mr. Burton Brocklehurst. Next, please welcome Miss Danielle Williams, escorted by Mr. Luke Hostetler. Next, please welcome Miss Lauren Turek, escorted by Mr. Logan McFadden. Next, please welcome Miss Olivia Slater, escorted by Mr. Reese Fisher. Next up, please welcome Miss Taryn Delaney, escorted by Mr. Hunter King. Next, please welcome Miss Micah Matheson, escorted by Mr. Preston Ross. Next, please welcome Miss Kiara Deviney, escorted by Mr. J.P. McGee. Next up, please welcome Miss Hannah Denneker, escorted by Mr. Turner Yates. Next, please welcome Miss Carlin Ligo, escorted by Mr. Ryan Deshand. Next, please welcome Miss Chloe Herman, escorted by Mr. Gavin Wilkerson. Next, please welcome Miss Asta Reed, escorted by Mr. Barrett Gentili. Next, please welcome Miss Riley McIntyre, escorted by Mr. Andy Haley. Next, please welcome Ms. Grace Gadsby, escorted by Mr. Dougie Maxwell. Next, please welcome Miss Natalie Ray, escorted by Mr. Jacob Schaefer. Next, please welcome Miss Madison Boer, escorted by Mr. Drew Fagley. Next, please welcome Miss Haven Patton, escorted by Mr. Logan Hogue. Next, please welcome Miss Savannah Lawton, escorted by Mr. Wyatt Zabrovius. Next, please welcome Miss Carla Black, escorted by Mr. Greg Furlan. Next up, please welcome Miss Michelle Gilliland, escorted by Mr. Noah Burke. Next up, please welcome Miss McKinley Barish and Miss Lydia Heckman, escorted by Mr. Bryson Reither. Next, please welcome Miss Aaliyah Espinosa and Miss Erin Slater, escorted by Mr. Nick Show.
Nick Shaw. Looked like an eye. Should've known who he was. They say the same thing.
Next, please welcome Miss Shayna Reynolds, escorted by Miss McKenna Hood. Next, please welcome Miss Michaela Rose, escorted by Mr. Tyler Lightcap. Next, please welcome Miss Savannah Willits, escorted by Mr. Devin McIntyre. Next, please welcome Miss Shay Hargrove, escorted by Mr. Wyatt Davis. Next, please welcome Miss Rebecca Williams, escorted by Mr. Alex Foltz. And finally, please welcome Miss Paige Kopsick, escorted by Miss Rachel Byler. That brings us to the end of our Grand March, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Brazel, the officers and members of the junior class, and the prom committee would like to extend their thanks to the following individuals for their contributions to this year's prom around the world. Our administration and staff for their support, help, and patience. Our chaperones for this evening and volunteer parents. Mrs. McKay and Ms. Sabula, the junior class advisors, and all of our parents and community members who have supported the class of 2020 over the years. We also wanted to inform you that some of our students made an incredibly important decision about prom night and accepted the challenge of signing the Prom Promise Pledge. This pledge gives our students the chance to consider the choices they make after the dance is over. And 55 of our 179 students who are attending the prom have promised to themselves and their families that they will not drink, drive under the influence, use drugs, text and drive, or drive without a seatbelt tonight. We are incredibly proud of our Sailor students for making this pledge, and we hope this is a tradition that continues to grow at Lakeview High School. Thank you for attending this year's Grand March. Have a safe and wonderful evening.